your surroundings. Now close your eyes. Carefully stand up and attempt to move around your environment. Is it easy? Have you run into anything? Could you find your way to the door or to the bathroom? How about finding a book? Students with visual impairments face these challenges every day, and this was just a simple simulation. Imagine having to do everything you do now without the ability to see. This is the final lesson in our module on visual impairments. This module will cover educational implications, professionals who work with students with visual impairments, and strategies. Students with visual impairments are a very heterogeneous group. There is great diversity among students in terms of ability and areas of support needs. Some students with visual impairments may not appear to have an impairment at all, while some may have impairments that are more visible. The underlying goal for these students is to have access to and experiences with the physical, learning, and social environments of importance, develop a peer group, and gain independence. Keep in mind that students with visual impairments have the same rights as their sighted peers. As an educator, it is important to maintain a balance between the type and level of supports offered to students with visual impairments. As with any student, we want them to experience success, gain confidence, and take responsibility for their own learning. Providing too many and exaggerated levels of support where they are not needed may lead to learned helplessness. However, not providing enough supports can be detrimental to student success as well. Striking a balance is the key here. In order to do this, it will be important to collaborate with families and others working closely with the child. This will allow you to better provide necessary and meaningful supports that will prevent situations where the student may become overly dependent or struggle unnecessarily in the classroom. Students with visual impairment should be held to similar expectations as their sighted peers. Obviously, they will likely need accommodations and modifications as a result of the impairment. However, they should have similar expectations with regard to work quality. So who are the professionals in the school system that will work with a child with a vision impairment? A teacher of students with visual impairments, or TVI, will be involved with any student with a visual impairment. However, the specific roles they play in working with this student will be decided with the IEP team. While the TVI has multiple methods for supporting students with visual impairments, key roles will likely consist of teaching compensatory skills such as Braille, consulting, presenting in-service workshops, referrals for special education services, and conducting assessments. The main goal of these roles is to support the student in limiting the impact the vision impairment has on their education and more fully gaining access to the learning environment. There are a number of assessments that a TVI will conduct in order to better understand the needs of a student with a visual impairment. These assessments may include a learning media assessment and a functional vision assessment. A learning media assessment, or LMA, is conducted to help identify the type of media a child with a visual impairment may need. LMAs are often conducted throughout the child's education because their needs will change as they develop and advance through the grades. Functional vision assessments, however, assist the TVI in understanding how a student uses vision, identifying effectiveness and limitations of their vision, and identifying types of modifications that may be necessary. A rehabilitation teacher may also work with a student with a visual impairment. The rehabilitation teacher's expertise will be important in teaching and instructing others on how to teach adaptive skills. Furthermore, they will assist with teaching the student how to use assistive technology, daily living skills, and personal management. An orientation and mobility specialist, or O&M specialist, may also be involved with providing instruction to students with visual impairments. The O&M specialist will be responsible for teaching students how to navigate and interact with their environment. This may include instruction on use of tools such as canes, guide dogs, or sighted guides. Sighted guides are individuals who offer guidance as initiated by the individual with the impairment. Before we begin our discussion on tools, accommodations, and modifications, take a minute to watch the following clip about Timmy, a young boy with a visual impairment.
Imagine if this is what life looked like. Imagine spending your whole life unable to see neither black, nor white, nor the colors of the world.
Meet Timmy. This is his life. Timmy was born visually impaired.
According to the federal definition within the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Timmy is visually impaired because, even with correction, his visual impairment adversely affects his academic performance.
Now imagine having a child like Timmy in your classroom. What would life be like for him? How could you best accommodate him?
Timmy has an average IQ and educational ability. However, if you observe him in your classroom, he may tune out when you present your lesson visually, giving off the impression that he's not paying attention.
Timmy might not use many hand gestures or body movements, and really, he doesn't understand the need for them. From his perspective, they aren't necessary since he can't see them.
Sometimes Timmy may appear clumsy, contributing to his low self-esteem, but it's important for you and your class to support and encourage him.
Remember that Timmy will also have difficulties understanding nonverbal cues from both you and his classmates. He relies on tone of voice to get his point across.
So, what can you do to help Timmy achieve academically and socially?
In your classroom, Timmy will learn best with hands-on, tactile learning. It will be much easier for Timmy to transition from concrete concepts to abstract concepts if he can use real objects and materials while learning.
Have a variety of manipulatives available for Timmy in the class to use. Use raised maps and tactile boards to help Timmy see what's going on in the classroom.
If your lesson includes a large amount of written text on the board, be sure to read it aloud and include auditory descriptions so Timmy can follow along too.
You'd be surprised how much preferential seating, different lighting, and enlarged text can help Timmy. Seat Timmy close to the front of the classroom so he'll be able to listen to your lessons.
High contrast displays and color highlighting can help Timmy differentiate between different information on a page.
Don't forget that Timmy might even bring a service animal to school. This can be really exciting for the other students in your classroom.
Be sure to have a lesson on how to treat the service animal, and don't forget to make space for him near Timmy's desk.
Braille is probably the most recognizable accommodation given to children with visual impairments, and can help Timmy out too. But don't be afraid to use other assistive technology as well.
There is a vast amount of resources available to those with visual impairments, such as Braille translation software, audible Braille note takers, synthetic speech, and closed-circuit TVs.
By making a few changes to your teaching methods, creating an accessible classroom for Timmy, and finding the most useful assistive technology, you will ensure that he will have a successful educational experience.
Imagine.
Professionals who work with students with visual impairments may use a number of tools that will enable them to interact with the learning, physical, and social environment more efficiently and enable them to be more active participants in the classroom. Low vision devices, closed caption TV or CCTV, and magnifiers provide a method for assessing print or the visual environment. Screen modification software is software used to magnify print or images on a computer. Furthermore, large print texts are available for students both in the classroom and for leisure. Many libraries have large print books available for checkout. Lastly, a brailler or computer may be necessary for completing work and making accommodations to materials. Public Law 108446 requires the IEP team to consider the provision of assistive technology devices and services in the development of students' IEPs. Under IDEA, Braille instruction is required unless the IEP team determines that it is not appropriate after evaluation of the student's reading and writing skills, needs, and appropriate reading and writing media. In the previous slide, we talked about closed caption TV. Closed caption TV provides visual text for the audio information being presented. Have you ever tried to listen to a TV program, though, with your eyes closed? If not, give it a try. Were you able to understand what was going on in the show? For students with vision impairments, it may be important for a description of what is happening to be stated along with the audio information being presented. When a description of what is taking place is stated along with the closed captioning, this is called closed caption and described. It is important to note that individuals with visual impairments now have the opportunity to see movies that are closed captioned and described in movie theaters. The following video provides an example of closed captioned and described.
Described and captioned media program in the classroom and online. dcmp.org.
That's me, creative developer Jamie Lugo, CTVI, Colorado School for the Deaf and Blind. Captioning services provided by Caption Perfect. Description services provided by Bridge Multimedia.
5 elementary-age boys at a table.
All right, guys. We're going to play our game of That's Me that we play every Monday after the weekend, okay? All right. Who wants to start?
4 hands shoot up. The 5th kid hesitates, then lifts his hand a little.
Brandon, what'd you do this weekend?
I brailled.
You brailled this weekend. Does anybody have any questions?
3 hands go up.
What'd you braille? I brailled 4s and A and B's and C's. And I did it all once. Jack,
Jack is on Brandon's right.
What do you do this weekend? I did some cleaning.
Jack turns to his right.
Miss Jamie, what'd you do?
And what did I do this weekend? This weekend, I played in a volleyball tournament.
Jack raises his hand.
Jack, do you have a question?
What team were you on?
My team was called the Bad Monkeys. That was our team name. Joey, what'd you do this weekend?
I was playing my Minecraft game. My brother let me play. I built this the biggest roller coaster of life.
Oh, wow. I think Jack has a question for you.
Is it close to Thrillville? Kind of. You can build mine cars, just turns but no loops or corkscrews. It's not close to Thrillville because it's back from the old days, kind of.
It's from the olden days. Okay. So.
Angela, what'd you do this weekend?
Oh, it's shopping.
Angelo turns to someone not at the table.
Miss Carla, what did you do this weekend?
She's not at the table.
This weekend, I baked bread.
Do you hear her?
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
What type of bread?
Chocolate and Amish bread.
Amish bread, yeah.
Do you have to gush it on 10th day?
Yes, you do gush it on the 10th day.
It's like the friendship bread that's going around our school.
Brandon, what did you do this weekend?
Molly's still laying in my house.
Can you put that into a sentence that we'll all understand?
Well,
This weekend.
this weekend, I watched TV.
You watch TV. Jack has a question.
What show or channel did you watch?
Science.
Later.
So, let's play a game of That's Me. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, who wants to start?
Jack and Angelo.
How about Angela?
This person
play the tournament. That's me. This person cleaned the house.
That's me. This person baked chocolate bread.
That's me. This person played Minecraft.
That's me. Definitely me. This person saw a science show and they went to sleep in it.
It was shop. I knew it. That's what.
Okay. This person played with his braille writer.
That's me.
Yeah, very good, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause.
The described and captioned media program provides services designed to benefit students who are blind, visually impaired, deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind. These services include a library of free loan described and captioned educational media, a clearinghouse of information related to educational media access, a gateway to Internet resources related to accessibility. There are no user registration or service fees. Visit the DCMP at dcmp.org. The DCMP is funded by the U.S. Department of Education and administered by the National Association of the Deaf.
Along with the tools that are necessary for students to access and engage in the educational environment, accommodations may also need to be made. Oftentimes, additional time will be needed because it takes longer to produce or complete work when using tools such as a brailler. Students may also need classroom print to be modified through use of a brailler or use of a reader. In addition, electronic note taker will be important for students in upper grades. Allowing students with visual impairments to use a computer or scribe software may also be necessary when completing work. Furthermore, students with visual impairments may have a heightened sense of hearing because of the visual impairment, and being able to access quiet areas for test taking or work completion may be important. Lastly, students with visual impairments may need frequent breaks. Aside from tools and accommodations, the most important thing is for a student to have an environment that is safe and easy to navigate. The classroom should be clear of obstacles and organized in a way that allows ease of movement from one area to the other. Seat locations, such as sitting close to the source of information, regardless of where that is, will be important. In addition, providing a tactile mark on the student's seat will assist them in finding their place with greater ease. As with any classroom, providing visual information in the environment, such as from board work or reminders, will continue to be important because it reinforces information. You can provide greater access to this information through having brailled desk copies for the student to use. Students with visual impairments may require additional supports in order to more fully engage in the physical, learning, and social environment. Supports will vary depending on the student's level of vision and abilities. Keep in mind it is important to strike a balance between the type and levels of support to enhance independence. As with any child, it is important to provide a safe and supportive environment so that students with visual impairments can take chances and experience natural consequences. Now that you have a general understanding of the professionals that work with students with visual impairments, the tools that may be needed, and key accommodations and modifications, let's take a look at the following case. This case comes from the IRIS module put together through Vanderbilt Peabody College.
Ms. Milton, a beginning third-grade teacher, receives the following note from her principal 3 days before school starts.
Miss Milton, 2 students have transferred to our school from out of state. Evan and Emily Rothman are twins and have been placed in your classroom. Evan is blind and Emily has low vision. Mrs. Edwards, the TVI, should be here before classes start to meet with you. She also has the number for the O&M specialist. Someone will come by to deliver the equipment tomorrow. A list of equipment is attached. Copies of the students' IEPs are also attached. A paraprofessional will be assigned to work with them, but we are still figuring out who that person will be. As soon as we decide, we will let you know. Sorry about the late notice. If you have any questions, let me know. Mr. Harvey, Principal.
Ms. Milton isn't sure where to start. She has no experience working with students who have visual impairments. She doesn't even know what an O&M specialist is. Her classroom is already set up, her lessons prepared for the first 2 weeks, and she isn't sure what changes she'll have to make so these students can participate. Here's your challenge. What does Ms. Milton need to know about students with visual impairments? From whom can Ms. Milton seek assistance and information about students with visual impairments? How can Ms. Milton work effectively with others to best meet Evan and Emily's needs?
Take a moment to write down a few thoughts to these questions. What does Ms. Milton need to know about students with visual impairments? From whom can Ms. Milton seek assistance and information on students with visual impairments? How can Ms. Milton work effectively with others to best meet Evan and Emily's needs? What does Ms. Milton need to know about students with visual impairments? It is important for Ms. Milton to understand both Evan and Emily's needs, level of vision, and types of supports necessary for them to access the physical, learning, and social environment. Furthermore, it is important for her to understand how each child uses vision to enhance her ability to provide appropriate supports. She also needs to know the tools the students need and how they are to be used to facilitate good use within her classroom. Who can Ms. Milton seek assistance and information from, and how can she most effectively work with them? It would be important for Ms. Milton to collaborate with a TVI, O&M specialist, and rehabilitation specialist, should each of these individuals be designated through the IEP to work with both Evan and Emily. Furthermore, if either student works with other professionals, such as a speech and language pathologist or paraprofessional, it would be important to collaborate with them as well. Most importantly, the teacher should communicate with the parents and the children. Overall, Ms. Milton learned that she can effectively instruct all students in her classroom through collaboration and consultation with other professionals in the school. Way to go, Ms. Milton! Before we end this module of students with visual impairments, we wanted to review a few key pieces of information. First, students with visual impairments are typically educated in the general education setting. Due to their needs and types of support, it will be important to collaborate with other professionals, such as TVI and O&M specialists, in an effort to better meet the needs of these students. Lastly, students with vision impairments will need varying types and levels of supports in order to more fully engage in the physical, learning, and social environments. Remember that it is important to maintain high expectations.